great day today. What we're going to be looking at today is MyMathLab. We're going to see how that's going to work for us, what some tools that we have on MyMathLab. Now, I've already logged in, and I'm going to look at, you see, any of these three courses, they're all the same, but I'm just going to look at fourth period, and I know some of y'all might have some other classes as well. So I'm just going to kind of get rid of these little tabs. And now here we are looking at MyMathLab. We don't do tests and quizzes on MyMathLab. We don't do those. You can do them if you want for extra practice, but you don't have to. But what we're going to mainly look at today is homework. And I know sometimes homework can get frustrating, but we got some tools to help you out. So let's say we're doing homework 4.4 on reference angles. So first off, looking at this, there's 17 questions. So I'm going to be listed a question here, and then it's going to kind of give me a random number generation. So a lot of y'all think, okay, cosine of 0. Well, you might not have cosine of 0. You might have sine of 0. You might have sine of pi over 2, or cosine. It just depends on, these are randomly generated questions. However, they all deal with evaluating the trig function. So if I'm going to evaluate the trig function at cosine is equal to 0, looking at my unit circle, I'm going to say it's 1. Check, and it's like, it's good job. Pat yourself on the back. You got it right. Now, let's say I didn't get it right. So I'll go to this next question where it's secant of 3 pi over 2. So I'm just going to think secant as -1. I think it's -1. Oh, I'm wrong. So it gives me a hint to draw the angle in standard position, choose a point P on the angle's terminal side, and finally apply the appropriate trig function definition. Well, let's say if I try again, I'm going to try it as 1. If it says this final check here, final check means this is the last time you can try it before you're definitely going to get the question wrong. So I got it wrong. It said the correct answer is undefined, but I have answer 1. Now I can click similar question. I can do this similar question 5 times, meaning that I get 2 tries for this problem, and I get 5 problems. So that's essentially 10 tries for these multiple choice problems when you have 4 options. Now let's see if I can find one that's not multiple choice. 1, 2, here we go. Reference angles. So looking at reference angles, I'm going to look in, I think the answer is 0. So no, it's not 0. It's going to give me the little hint. I'm going to think it's 10. Again, I'm just randomly choosing. I'm not really quite looking for it. So I'm going to say 30. And now in this case, it said good job for 30 because the reference angle is 30 degrees. But I want us to be clear, we're only going to be sticking radians and radians. So let's say I couldn't get this right, and I'm going to ask for a similar question. I'm going to just think it's 0, and then 1, and 11. Final check again. It says I'm wrong. I can hit OK, and I want to, so let's say you want to save your best score, and let's say if your best score was 90, similar question, give this triangle, and you can keep going and going. Now let's say you get in a cycle where you just can't get it right. Well, you got this thing called help me solve this and view an example. Help me solve this is going to say, it's going to give you a step-by-step procedure where it's going to ask you. So step 1, it's asking for you to type in radians. So I'm going to have this nice little toolbar here. I'm going to type in 2 pi minus 5 pi over 3 because we're with reference angles, we're trying to do a full rotation. And so I'm going to guess it's pi over 3. Now I can just do pi over 3. And I just kind of hit the slash to get that little shortcut. You see, it's good. Now, here's the problem. Once I finish that, it generated a new problem. So you have to learn the process in order to solve it. Now, you can look at an example. An example is going to give you some different numbers. And you don't have to work through it like the last one. It's going to tell you, hey, this is how you do it. And so it's taking 11 pi over 8 and subtracting that by pi. That's going to equal 3 pi over 8. And the great thing is, if you look at view an example, you have this 7 pi over 4 still here, so the problem didn't change. So I suggest when you're doing work on these, do the view and example before help me solve this so that you can get that same question. Now, if you still don't know, you can hit textbook, and with the textbook, it's going to take you directly to what section we're working on. 4.4, trigonometric functions of any angle. So you can kind of scroll through and see what's going on, like what are we doing in the class if you need some more further instruction. And that kind of concludes the homework section. Really, there's nothing much else that there is going on. You can look at multimedia library, and through that multimedia library, that let's say you just want to get some extra help and you didn't want to do the homework, you just go to section 4.4. We have a video presentation. It's like, hey, here's a online lesson on how to do reference angles. And it takes a while to load sometimes. Then you also have the text, which was that ebook that we've already looked at. And then the last thing you have is a kind of a study plan. A study plan is just kind of like, hey, I want to work on this type of problem. I'm going to click here, get on this study plan. So there's a lot of resources. I don't go everywhere and go looking. They're right here. You just got to learn how to use it. Other than that, it's really great, and